Hey traders, Luke from Breakout Trading here. Just wanted to go over some swings. I literally have them right here in front of me with the description, and they're also down in the description on YouTube anyway. And I'm just going to go real brief over why I'm picking them and why I'm even doing this video about swings because I know typically we do more day trading than anything, but a lot of members have jobs and they can't sit in front of a computer or be on their phone all day. And number one, I don't recommend that anyway. So, long story short, I'm picking out some swings that I see definite potential with, and I'm going to go over why. And these are not to be entered right away. These are to be entered under certain circumstances, and that's exactly what I'm going to go over. And you will be texted through the text alerts when is the ideal time or the appropriate time to enter. If you've not signed up for the text alerts, it is Saturday. You have until Tuesday to get the $40 lifetime special. It's one-time fee, $40 gets you everything: the text alerts, the chat room. You get the 0-second delay live stream where we trade together every morning. You can contact me for questions or any other of the admins. So that's there. Link is down below, and yeah, that deal ends on Tuesday. So take advantage of it if it sounds like it's something that you want. We also work in conjunction kind of with TradeNet, and what we will try to do is get you that free $14,000 account. We're constantly doing at least once a month. We'll try to do the challenge together, and people end up successful. Definitely more than the odds. 98% of people lose that challenge, but if you do it in the group, it's like a 50-50 shot. But typically, when people do lose the challenge in a group, it's because of they've made a mistake. But anyway, let's get into this. GE is my first pick. Why GE? Well, let's run through it real quick. It's actually the only thing I'm holding right now. I'm holding some options. I'm up about 80% so far. Bought these on Thursday when that Marco Polo guy came out and basically said that, oh, GE's committing fraud, da 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 da. And we all knew, I mean, at least I knew instinctually that it was BS because he even said he was getting paid to say this on the news, which is just crazy. And yeah, so, and on top of that, the CEOs, the CEO of GE bought 2 million shares when it popped down below $8. He bought 2 million shares, $2 million worth of shares. That's confidence right there that they know they didn't commit no fraud. So these options were literally 13 cents. How could you say no to that? 13 cents. If they pop up $2, they'll go anywhere from, depending on the volatility, $1.20 to $2.40 if it pops back up to 10. Looks like it's going to pop to 9.50 because there's a pivot point right there. So we got to see what it does at that level. If it seems like it's not going to break that level, that might be our exit, or at least a level where we take a partial. But definitely a great swing. We are already in this, and like I said, I'm considering rolling back another month where our expiration date is October. Maybe we'll go into November, which will create a buying opportunity and an entry for people that have not gotten in. Again, we will do that live together or through the text alerts. Um, Boom. All right, so let's go to the second swing. Second swing is Uber. Love this stock, Uber. This is the biggest IPO. I see my face is in the way there, but this is the biggest IPO to come out since Facebook. And Facebook dumped too when it came out. I bought Facebook when it IPO'd. Was it like 70 something, and then it dumped down? Anyway, this is well below the pivot point. If you look at Uber on the Uber's pivot points, you'll see it's gonna pop back up. You could tell this just kind of dropped. It was already dropping a little bit, and then the market dropping didn't help, and now it kind of popped up and I think it's going to hit this 38.47 level. But this is one thing that's very important, and this is also a factor in on GE. This is a factor on all of these, actually. How the market's going to do. So it looks like it's a great time to buy because the next pivot point's at 38, and that's an easy $3 trade. It's a 10% trade on a $30 stock. So it looks like a great trade, but the market has to be in sync. I'm not going to go long in this, especially with this trend, although I'm sure people are gobbling it up at this price. This is a huge company. I mean, anyway, where was I? Okay, so yeah, the market. We have to keep a close eye on the SPX. Everything is dependent on what happens here, okay? So if you take a close look at the market where it's at, like right around now, it's caught in this little gap here. But the two most important numbers are 28.90. It seems to hit a lot of resistance there. So if it breaks through that, great. I can be bullish. No problem. I'll buy GE. I'll buy Uber. I'll buy Roku, which is another one that on the list. And if it goes through this level, this is even more important. If it can go through 29.45, if it can break through that, 29.45 or 29.50, 29.45 really is the actual level, 29.45. If we can break through that, I think the bear market's over. And this was just a little pullback, and we're going to continue to the upside. Trump's whole reelection is dependent on this market, so I think he's going to do everything he can. He did play his best card, I think, by reducing tariffs temporarily for the holidays. He did it temporarily for the election. Come on, but we'll see. I mean, job reports come out at the end of the month, whatever, and if those are bad, and we got a lot of retail stock earnings coming out, if those are bad, it could go down, which is fine because I have a swing trade for that as well. I have multiple swing trades for that. I'm only sharing 4, but I have a whole bunch of stocks that I have in my watch list that if they hit a certain point, I will trade. Anyway, okay, so that was Uber. Looks good right now to buy long as the market breaks above that point. If the market breaks above 28.90, I'll buy some. I'll buy some Uber. Okay. If it breaks above 29.45, I'm gonna double my position. And I would, yeah, and I do the same thing with Roku, but Roku is at a pivotal point, so we have to discuss Roku before saying, oh, if it breaks out, I'll jump in. But we'll get to Roku in 2 seconds. Okay, right here, beyond. Let's say we all know that this was a hoax, right? This was all BS. The CEOs came out with a secondary offering so they can get rid of their restricted shares. Restricted shares are when you are a member of an executive or affiliate or an owner of the company and you IPO, your shares are what's considered restricted and you're not allowed to sell them for 6 months. So they did this whole secondary offering so that they could get rid of that restriction and sell their shares right at the top. And as soon as that happened, the stock dumped. Of course, I mean, CEO, it's very similar to GE. GE bought up shares and the stock rose. These guys went out of their way to do a secondary offering to dump shares. It wasn't even a big secondary offering. They added like an extra 8% of shares and they already have a super low float. Anyway, my big thing on this, it's at a beautiful point. If this, first of all, it's hitting resistance on 135.18. So I will short this either at 135. If it goes below, I'll short it, or by puts. Either way, I'll let you know in the text alerts. 2 ways you could do it, because some people are not ready for options yet, so you can still do equities. That's fine. And you might say, well, it's an expensive stock. Well, if this goes down to the final pivot point, which is $1, that's a huge move. That's the same thing as if you had a stock that was $1.40 and it dropped down to $1 and you shorted it. You make a fortune. It's like 38% roundish, rounding off there. But anyway, it is very close to 149. Now, why is that important? I'll tell you why that's important, BYND. It is very close to 149, and that's very important because that is the second support or the first support pivot point. So if it breaks above that, it's kind of a bullish move. So again, I'm kind of hoping on for this one. I would probably more likely enter if the market didn't break above 28.90 and kept going down. Um, but I think that we're going to see the market kind of stay flat for a little bit before it decides what it's going to do. If it stays flat, I would still go short on this. Anyway, yeah. So if it, we got to see what it does at that 149 level. But even so, that is a perfect limit order to short, right at 149. Period. Just 149 or 148.50 even. It doesn't matter. The reason being is you could just put your stop loss at 150. You know, 150 or 150 and 25 cents because 150 is a strong psychological resistance. And that's probably where the true pivot point value is at, about 150. So we're going to see what it does here. If it pops up and looks like it can't break that 150 or 149 level, shorting, and you got just, and it's such a small level to the stop loss. So you wouldn't even take that big a hit if you were wrong. But the potential gain is huge. Huge. The potential downside on this is enormous. Now, let's just say on Monday the market's dumping and this starts dumping. Then I would try to do 135 as my entry. I think I wouldn't enter in the middle here. If it was at like 140, I wouldn't enter. I think I would rather wait for that confirmation for it to break below 135 before I jumped in. Absolutely. All right, now the last one, and if you guys know me, you know Roku's my baby stock. I love this stock. I've been following it since I opened it. I use all my gains to buy Roku TVs. I bought Roku TVs for members on good earnings reports. Like, we love Roku here, and so needless to say, I am biased. But this one is at a crossroads here. It's at a very pivotal point because you can clearly see this channel to the upside, and it had these good earnings, and it shot out of the channel, above the channel. Now, whenever it shoots below the channel, you know that's a bad sign, that's bullish. But when it shoots above the channel, there's a couple things that happen. It could either be a really bullish sign and the stock could take off to the moon, or it could come back down into the channel and just mean that there was a really aggressive buying at that point. The channel would then readjust, and you would have to work with that. But what's important here is the stock is at 131.04. It hit 127.60, it looks like, and bounced on Friday. And it's also, the channel is right at 127.60. So this is very, very pivotal. Um, if you go ahead and you take a look at Roku, the pivot point is, of course, you could have guessed it, at 127.47. So it's right at where the top of the channel is and right where the support is. So we're really at a pivotal point here. It could break down. If it breaks down into the channel, you could maybe like do a short scalp or whatever, but I'm not touching it. I'm looking for a bullish move on this. I'm not looking for a short move. What I believe will happen is you could see all these previous lines are the pivot points the month before. These are monthly pivot points, so they readjust every month. I believe at the end of August, there's a possibility that the pivot points will just raise up a little bit. And if that happens, that just means the stock is more bullish and is going to go higher. It does have 150 targets from Oppenheimer and a whole bunch of other analysts. So I am bullish on this, but I also know we're at a very pivotal point, and I think this is highly dependent on what the market does. But on a second note, I also want you to know the day that it shot up like $20 was the day the market went down 800 points or 900 points. Do I have that correct? Or it might have been the next day. But so the market going down doesn't seem to have an effect. People seem to be using this as a little bit of a safe haven. I mean, it's always been known that entertainment is recession proof. So typically Roku's kind of an entertainment slash tech stock. And what they did was very smart. All the Roku TVs, all those tariffs, it's really not going to affect Roku that much because they licensed out their software. So if a TV to come from China to here it costs they have more now because of the tariffs. It really doesn't affect Roku that much. Doesn't it? So I don't see Roku's having any kind of significant impact from the tariffs, except maybe on the boxes that they make. Those are made in China, but this company's too strong. It's killing it. I seen a Wall Street Journal article about this. The market cap. This is the leader. This is the leader in what do they call it? Wireless streaming TV. It's ahead of Apple. It's ahead of Amazon. It's ahead. This is the best one. So I think it's gonna continue that way. And it doesn't have all those other factors like Amazon and Apple, which could get hurt on a recession. This is basically just a software company that nobody's gonna, throw out their TVs. All right. Anyway, I went on and on and on, and I tried to keep it as short as possible. But I will let you guys know when I plan on entering and all that good stuff. Anyway, it looks like an error has occurred. When did the error occur?